Git is a distributed version control system that tracks the changes made in your source code. Wouldn't it be nice to be able to see the code you wrote some weeks or even years back, or be able to work on different parts of your code while still maintaining the current version in production? Hi, this is Process Guy. In today's tutorial, we are going to be learning about Git and how to host our code on GitHub. Let's dive in and see what Git has to offer. Version control. Git allows developers to track changes in their code base over time. It records each modification made to those files, including who made those changes, when it was made, and what the changes were all about. Branches. Git makes it easy to create branches, which are independent line of development. Developers can work on separate branches for different features or bug fixes and later merge them back into the main project. Look at branches as a way to start a new feature or new releases in your project. Merging. Git provides tools for combining changes from one branch into another. This process is known as merging. It helps integrate new feature or bug fixes into your main code base. Imagine you have a fix or a new feature in one branch. Merging allows you to be able to put that fix into your main production code without breaking any sweat. Commit. A commit in Git represents a snapshot of the project at a specific point in time. Each commit has a unique identifier and includes changes to one or more files. Commits are building blocks of the project history. You can look at commit as a way of saving your project progress. So it's more like saving a milestone of what you've worked on. Repository. A Git repository, or repo for short, is a collection of all project files along with their complete history. There can be a local repository on your computer or remote repository hosted on a server, in this case GitHub. And by the way, there are more than one platform for you to host your code. You could use GitLab, Bitbucket, or Gitya. But as far as this tutorial is concerned, we are focusing on GitHub. Git is an essential tool in modern software development, enabling collaboration among multiple developers, tracking code changes, and providing a safety net for code recovery. Let's see how we can install Git. So to install Git, we just head straight to the website. Just go to git-scm.com and then you'll be presented with this site. From this site, you could go ahead and download your own copy, the one that has to do with your operating system. So you have for Mac, you have for Windows, and then you have for Get Linux as well. It's also there. So you can follow the installation procedure and you should have it on your system if you follow the right procedure. After you must have installed Git on your system, the next point of action is for you to head to GitHub. We now want to talk about GitHub. So let's look at what GitHub is all about. GitHub is a web-based platform that provides Git-related services and more online. We're only going to be focusing on its Git repository hosting, meaning it allows you to host your code online. So the Git that you normally have on your system, it gives you access to run it on GitHub platform. That's the part we're going to be focusing on in this tutorial. The first thing you need to do is to register, which is the sign up button located on the top right. And we are presented with this wonderful presentation about how to go ahead. So I already have an account, but I want to walk you through the registration process. So I have a burner email here, which I can use. I've provided the email there. And I'll click continue. I'm going to make my password the same thing as my email. Then it's asking me to provide a username. I'm going to use the email ID as the username as well. Then I continue. It's asking me if I want a newsletter. I just say no. So right here is requiring us to verify our account. So we need to do a puzzle. So this should be pointing up. Okay, the next thing we are presented with should be for us to click on create account, and we need to check our burner email for our new email in our inbox. this is our code to verify that our email is correct. Okay, so I've been presented with this part to fill. Since we're just going to be using this within our own project, we could specify all the category that pertains to you. So if you're a student, a teacher, or not available, any of this you can just pick in to fill. These I guess is a kind of a survey. Then you could just pick that you are either using it for collaborative coding, which is the fact that you want someone to review it for you. You could pick any of this that you wish to. I guess these are used for survey internally. And the part we're actually focusing on is their free version. We're not going for the paid version, we're going for the free version. So when we click on that, it goes to create our GitHub account. Now we have our GitHub account, and there's quite a lot of things that could be distracting as it is. So this is also another social media, but it is social media for developers. So it's going to be very interesting for you to work with this and go and explore all the things that it has to offer. You could search companies, you could search for people that you know. I'm also even here, by the way. You can give me a follow, so you could search for all that. But what we are here to do is to create a repo. The next thing for us is to create a repo. Repo is short for repository. And that repo is supposed to be your project that you want to make the public to see, or you want to share with somebody. There's a quick short link in which you can create a repo here on the home page, or you could just click it here on the top left part of the screen. You could use any one of these to go about that. So I could just come here and create a repo. So my repo will just be calculator. So that would be the name of my project, and I want it public. Public means it's available to everybody. If you make it private, it means maybe you're creating a very super wonderful application that you just want only you to have access to, which is fine. So we're going to be using public because we want to be able to make it public. So you go ahead and create your repo. Immediately you create your repo, it comes up with this page for you. The first thing you do when you have your repo is to save something inside. You can't have a blank repo. You have to save something inside. Most of the time, I go with the README file. So you go ahead and create the README file. Once you click it, it will come with blank. It will just repeat the name that it has there, and you click on Commit Changes. Commit, like I explained to you guys before, is like to save your progress, to save where you are in a timeline. Click here and then you put your commit message. Commit message can be the message you want to tell the world about these changes that you just did. So I go ahead and click on commit, and voila, we have our project done. It's calculator. We don't have anything inside it. It's just plain like that. So the idea is that this document is now hosted on GitHub. How do we get it on VS Code? How do we get it on the system in such a way that we can manipulate it, we can share with other people? As it is now, you could actually share it with anybody you want to share it with in the world. So this is your URL, github.com/your ID here. This is the ID that we use to create this account. And then you can see your project name in the front. So you could do something like this and it will still give you this. The next thing we want to talk about now is Git Cleint. The Git Cleint is very important because the Git Cleint is how you get the code here that you are seeing, you get it to your computer. Git Cleint allows you to get the code from GitHub into your computer. So we have several Git clients, just like the way you have several Git hosting platform. We also have several Git clients. The one we're going to be focusing on is Fork.dev. Even though it's paid, you could use the evaluation version, for it. I like it, and I think it's something that you guys can also use as well. So I'm recommending Fork.dev for you guys. Go ahead, download the version that you use. The installation should be pretty straightforward. Once you finish downloading the ones that you want to use based on your operating system, you will then have something that look like this. Immediately you have your app open, you have the Fork.dev open, that's the Git client. If you have it open like this, the next thing is to go through your file menu system, even though it's not visible to you right now. Go to the file menu system and click on accounts. See this. This window will pop open to you, and you should be able to link any Git cloud hosting platform into here. Currently, we want to link another account, the account that we just created. We want to link it up with this Fork.dev. So you click on plus here, and you should be able to pick any of these hosting platform. We are using GitHub. So we can select GitHub and provide our login details. So we can provide our login username here so that it signs us in. So let's grab our username and paste it here, which is this. This is our username here. And we click on sign in. Our full password is this. We have it here as well. And we say sign in. So it asks us for us to verify this code, which I guess it will be sent to that mail that we have. Okay, I'm looking for the first mail. This is it here. Please verify your device. So we can click, we have our verification code here. Then we can impute our verification code. So I've been marked as spam, and therefore I cannot use the third-party tool to log in. So what I need to do is to use an alternative method to log in. I don't think you're going to have issue using this method. We then need to use personal token to log in, and we need to generate that token from GitHub. So we click here to show us where that token is, and then we have that token here. You can say it should not expire so that we can generate a token. What that token should allow us to do is to do all of this, and you can just say generate token, and we have our token right there. We can copy and go back to our app and say this is the token we want to use to be able to have access to this platform. And voila, we have access. So we have this, it has given us access, enable notification in bar, and all that. So now that you have access to, you've been able to connect your Git Cleint, which is the Fork.dev, you've been able to connect it with GitHub. The next thing you want to do is to check the repo and clone it. So when you come here, you will see all your repos that you have. We only have one that we created, which is the calculator. So any one you create, it will all be here for you to clone. Cloning is the art of bringing down your code that is on GitHub into your system. So I'm going to use my account to clone it, and because I already have it set up on my own platform already. So I click on account, and I have this my account, which I've already created a repo for myself, which is called calculator as well. Then I click on clone. I specify that I want to use the Git version, that's the SSH, and I want it to be on my desktop for easy access. Then I specify my account, and then I say clone. And you can see that it's cloning right here, and it's cloned successfully. So the next thing I want us to look at is that this interface. This interface is very important because it's also going to be where you are going to be sending things to. This is what is going to enable you to send anything you've done to GitHub. One of the things you're going to be using to send things to GitHub. So this is what we just created, the README file. And then it's now located on your desktop. You've been able to successfully pull it down into your desktop. So if I come here, you should see the file right here. You can say calculator, and then you have it here. This is what we just created from all the way from GitHub. It's now on our system. So let's go ahead and use Visual Studio to pull this off. So let's open Visual Studio. Let's locate our repo, and that repo is under desktop, and it's called calculator. So you open it up, and you have it here. This is what we have. But right now, we now want to start making changes to our documents that we've created, or our project. We want to start making changes. So in order to save time, we just want to do a milestone by creating some documents or some files. So I'm going to create our app.js. I'm going to create our style, CSS. and also going to create our index HTML. They are not going to have content. It's just to show you what is going on and activities that is going to happen. Notice that we now have color difference, right, going on here. Now, what we've been able to do is we've been able to add something to our folder because this is now located locally on our system. You can see that we now have files on our system. But if we go to GitHub, GitHub is remote, is still what it is. GitHub still have one file. Then if you go to your Git Cleint, which is your Fork.dev, you will notice that on the top right, you have local changes. Local changes are the change on your machine. That's on your own computer. While the remote changes is the one that is here, what is available online, which is the create readme. That's the only thing that has been done. So you can see the difference that there are some things that you have on your system and there are some things that are online. There might be some time whereby the one online might be more updated than the one you have on your system. Those are advanced stages. So let's just take it gradually. Now, at this stage, what you are about to do is that you are done with what you want to do today. Assumption that you are done with what you want to do today. The idea of what we wanted to do today was to create those files and then push them to the server, put them on GitHub so that later on you can come back and continue your project. Now we have these three files on our system. How do we put them online? You come to these local changes here and then you are presented with this two section. It's called stage and on stage and stage. Before you take anything to GitHub, you have to stage it. So you stage the things that you want. We're going to stage all of them at once. You can stage one by one and apply the comments that you want to apply to it and then send it to GitHub. Or you can send everything at once. In this case, we are sending everything at once. We'll be sending, more than one so that you see the differences as we send them. Now, the process of sending is called push, and the process of saving it is called commit. So they are two different things, but because you do them simultaneously, it's called commit and push. So now we now have these three files. We can say these three files can be the creation of, let's say, starting a new thing. And this, as it is going to, stay with it forever. What you are typing here is going to stay on the history of your project forever. Meaning everybody that comes in here, that comes to see the history of what you are doing, are going to see what you just put here. So it's very important that you put the proper documentation to what you are doing. Now, once we are done, we just put it with the commit and push. Notice what's happening on the top. It goes and push everything that we have there. And if we go and check our code, we will see that it would have done that. If I come to my code, notice that I already have one here before, and if I wait long enough, I'm going to see the changes will show just soon. So we have our changes there. Starting a new thing that we put in there, you can see that 14 minutes ago was the last time this other file was updated, and this file was just updated now. So that's how GitHub works, Git and GitHub works. So it's possible that you might even, maybe you are not with your system and you want to make direct code change on GitHub itself. It's possible. You might want to make a change on GitHub and then you want to pick up later time on your own system and go and work with it. So let's say you're on GitHub, and this might even be someone else. Someone else might have access to the code because you made it public. And that person might make changes and push it, to you for anybody to review and also accept. This is not an advanced class for Git, so we will not be going into the detail of that. So you can come here and edit. We are focused on the index file, and the index file is supposed to create just a demo, template to say, to just have this information here. So I'm supposed to just have a title like this. So once you've done this, you can see the word there, commit. There's no need to push because you are already online. So it's as good as saying commit and push. You are working on GitHub, you're already online. So once you do commit, it's going to ask you for a comment you want to put there. That comment is very important, as I mentioned, because that comment is going to stay with it forever. So I will just say add title, and you can knock yourself out in the detail section where you can put as much details as you want to put in this part. You can go there and document quite a lot of things you want to put on there. So once you do that commit, it then becomes part of the project. So let me go back to the code so that you see the difference and what is going on. So look at the one file that we are isolated that we make changes to, and you can see that it's different from other ones. So this file has moved ahead of this other file. So let's come to our Git client and see what's happening. So if you come to your Git client and you go to all commits, so right now we're not seeing anything. We need to fetch. Sometimes these things fetch automatically, but if you fetch it manually, you go to see what is going to happen. So if we fetch, it's going to tell us that something has happened. Now notice the one thing that happened is here. So you are ahead or you are behind. The origin is ahead of us by one commit. That's why you have one commit here. Then you can then pull it down to what? To add to your own structure. So let's look at Visual Studio Code and see what Visual Studio Code is saying. You can see that our index is blank, but online index contains something. So if you want to adopt what happened, if you come here now and click here, you're going to see what it is, what change happened. Even though you have access to see the change that happened, it doesn't mean that it's available in Visual Studio Code or is on your system. It's not your system. What is on your system is what is main here. That's where you stopped. The one that is on GitHub is the origin. Everything origin is remote. When you see origin, origin is remote. Everything here on top is local to your system. So if you now want this on your system now, you want the good thing of life, then you come to pull, meaning you want it. So you click on pull, and then it's going to pull that to your system. So if I come here, look at what happened. The main and the origin are now on the same line. Then if I go to my Visual Studio Code, you will see that I now have that file there in my Visual Studio Code. And you can continue back and forth. You can continue again and make your changes and push your changes online. So if I come here and put my body and say hi here, automatically it becomes something for me to change. It now becomes a change. I've made an update to the index. And you can see the update that was made. The update was this update that was done. And again, you can continue the circle. You push, you pull, you push, you pull. And that is the circle, and that's how it goes continually. So this is supposed to be an intro into GitHub. There are more advanced stuff that you are going to be seeing in GitHub, but this is just to enable you to be able to submit your assignment on GitHub so that I may be able to review, effectively. So your next assignment for you now is to go out there and create your GitHub account and download a Git client, which is the Fork.dev, and also download the Git on your system and give it a try. Thank you for staying to the end. I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and turn on bell notification in order to be notified when we release new videos. See you in the next one.